I'm here with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.'s Clark Gregg. Clark, thank you so much for taking the time.
Jonathan, thank you for having me.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, we're a couple episodes in already, and it's already crazy. How far in advance are you told things? Because obviously I know there's tons of secrecy with Marvel. With Season 3, how far in advance are you aware of things?
Not very far.
No.
Not very far. I'm kind of anxious because a moment or two ago I saw that I was emailed the script that starts shooting next week, and I'm going to stay focused on this conversation, but I want to make sure everyone on my team lives through that script and get to read it very quickly.
I'm sure they appreciate that. Can you tell me what happens in the script?
Well, not till I've read it.
Okay, well, you never know.
But even then, I can't.
Of course, I'm sure. So Season 3, we've started. Things are a bit different with the team, as it always tends to be sort of at the beginning. Give us a little rundown for maybe people who haven't caught up yet, or just those watching. Where's Team S.H.I.E.L.D. right now?
Yeah, it's one of the things I actually really love about our show is that they seem kind of fearless, our writers, about kind of trashing the whole thing, our plane that was our home, and kind of rebuilding it as a new thing. It kind of reinvents itself every season, and last season was very much S.H.I.E.L.D. was destroyed in the Winter Soldier, and so we were just kind of outlaws trying to put it back together. Turning out there was not the only people putting together a S.H.I.E.L.D., and then, you know, the kind of the alien city and the birth of Inhumans happened, and now that's very much what's going on. There's a global outbreak of Terrigenesis, which is people transforming into Inhumans, and in this case, they don't know what's happening to them. They just start melting the metal around them, or various other things that you'll see soon. And so Coulson's team is very much about trying to find these people and take care of them in one way, and on the other hand, to make sure that they aren't that particular kind of Inhuman that is as a threat. And that seems to be making what we thought was going to be the number one priority, which was building Secret Warriors, a little bit on the back burner for a moment. Also, in the very beginning, it's been about trying to find out where Agent Simmons disappeared to in this monolith, which turned out to be a portal.
Well, and then also, speaking of the Inhumans, you have a built-in Inhuman on the team with Daisy, previously Skye.
Yeah.
How is that relationship with Coulson going at the beginning of Season 3? Because in the first episode, you know, Coulson isn't so willing to call her Daisy just yet. He's still calling her Skye.
It's a hard transition to make.
Yeah.
He's very, you know, they don't mess around. They put me in really difficult situations, and he's torn down the middle because here's a person who has become the closest thing he's got to family, and she is an Inhuman. In kind of classic pragmatic Coulson fashion, he makes her the head of the kind of team that's about putting together well, first to put together Secret Warriors, but then really it's the first responders. When somebody transforms, he has Daisy, who is an Inhuman, and Mac, who's the most suspicious of any of this kind of alien genetics.
I guess that's what we're calling it. It's a very confusing sort of
and we also have
everything.
this other group out there that's very much government sanctioned in the ATCU, run by the incomparable Constance Zimmer as Rosalind Price. And we're not sure if they aren't trying to exterminate these people who are suddenly different than the rest of us.
Well, I was just going to say, because that Constance Zimmer, that ACTU?
ATCU, Advanced Threat Containment Unit. I think it also means Alien Threat Containment Unit.
You did have to say what S.H.I.E.L.D. meant for the first time in the Marvel Universe, so I'm sure you get the acronyms down pretty well.
I got to say that, yes.
Well, so with Constance Zimmer's character, I think some of my favorite scenes in that first episode of the season were with you and her on the subway.
Oh, thank you.
And that dynamic. What are we going to see from that sort of? It's sort of contentious, but also
it's starchy. They're very similar. They're very wary. And there's some kind of connection between them, and they're either gonna fight, or who knows, maybe some other kinds of sparks might happen. It makes me laugh because two spies trying to figure out if they can trust each other. It's just ridiculous. I don't believe a word she says, and she doesn't believe a word I say. But we both really need to know what we can rely on the other for, because the outbreak is bigger than anybody can handle on their own.
And it's fun watching that back and forth. It feels sort of like classic Marvel writing.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, it also seems very possible that she'll suddenly want to capture and incarcerate Daisy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It could be either way.
That's going to heat up very soon, is all I'm going to say, that whole storyline.
Sneak preview. And so I did want to also touch on Coulson's hand being lost. You've joined the Marvel ranks of seemingly everyone is losing hands these days in Marvel movies.
It seems to come with the job of director of S.H.I.E.L.D. You lose something.
You got it. It's just
And I'm honored to join Nick Fury in the I lost something thing. It's really annoying. I can't do much for myself, and neither can Phil Coulson when the artificial hand is on. And on the other hand, hey now,
there we go.
he works for a company that has pretty extreme tech.
Some good resources.
Yeah, and I think if Agent Fitz is able to actually manage the portal, and bring his beloved Agent Simmons back from the other side of the universe, I feel good that my technology of my hand is going to keep getting better.
Well, that's reasonable, I think, to expect of your team.
Yeah.
So just generally for season 3, what are you most excited for fans to see as Secret Warriors is building with the team and with Constance Zimmer's introduction? What without giving too much away, obviously, what are you excited for fans to see?
We've just started to see that silly Grant Ward.
Yes.
He is rebuilding Hydra in a pretty ruthless and scaled down fashion. And I love the way he plays this guy. He kind of came back after killing many of our friends and thought he could maybe rejoin the team essentially at the end of last year. When that didn't work out, I think the grudge has only grown deeper. I feel like his Hydra's main mission may be focused on his old friends more than S.H.I.E.L.D. or world domination.
And obviously a civil war is approaching.
That's what I'm hearing, yes.
I'm hearing slowly that's ramping up. Will that sort of impact as the season goes on? Have they told you any preliminary plans, or is that all under lock and key?
No, they don't. My deal is I don't know. I do get to know what director Coulson knows. So sometimes we'll be doing a scene, or I'll see a script, and Coulson will be talking about something, and I'll say, "Wait, I don't know what he's talking about. Damn it, you have to tell me."
Let me know at least that.
But that keeps me pretty in the dark, which kind of helps. I'll know very close to when it's happening. For example, they took us all to a screening at Disney. We thought just to be nice to watch Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and then
you find out.
we find out that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and S.H.I.E.L.D. no longer exists.
It's a fun way to learn how your job is
But
going.
I mean, it's always been part of what Civil War is the registration of superheroes and people with powers. I suspect that what we're doing will connect with that in some way. What I like about what Marvel has done with our show is we explore a kind of different, broader part of what's going on in that stuff. It's probably a different story. It will connect somehow. Sometimes it connects in a big way. Sometimes it's just you're seeing, for example, with Winter Soldier, you're seeing more hours of that dynamic of suddenly realizing people you've worked and trained your whole life for were part of this other evil organization and are trying to kill you. That personal betrayal, we get to play that out.
For hours more.
For hours more, yeah. That's kind of the fun part.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is affected by Civil War, and also just seeing the rest of this season off to a great start. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.